One second, everybody. I think we're getting ready to go live. We're just getting ready to do the embed code. So if you guys will give us 1 second, I believe that we're broadcasting, but we got to make sure that we can get this over to Craig to put in. So if Michael, if you want to just start us off with something that you're excited about, and then I'll come back on in a second. I got to get Craig the embed code here.
I'll tell you right now, this thing never leaves my sight. This is the founder of Instagram, and we're running and gunning for this little punk. I'm just kidding. I love him. His name is Kevin Systrom. He was 26, 27 years old when he sold Instagram for $1 billion with no revenue and 100 million users. But the cool news, we're growing faster than he did in his first 30 or 40 days, and I can't wait to just smoke him. I mean, to me, nothing else matters. We just want to have the title of growing the fastest to 1 million users and then going from there. So that's what I'm excited about, Jim.
That is awesome. All right, and as soon as I get the heads up from Craig, we will rock and roll here. I think we're getting close. Liz, I understand that you're in a different part of the world today. Where are you at?
Well, yeah, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm joining you guys from Anaheim, not that far away, off for a few days. And I know we're doing this broadcast in English, but I have to take a quick sec to give a shout-out to the Spanish-speaking community. So, saludos a todo el equipo de Ripleando en Español por todo el mundo. Bienvenidos al Hangout. Estamos muy entusiasmados de estar aquí.
Sweet. I think that's exactly what Troy was going to say.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Liz. Come on.
Perfect. All right, well, we want to say thank you to everybody who is here. We're super excited to connect with you guys. We know that it's a big weekend, at least here for the people in the United States, and for the rest of you around the world, we want to welcome you. We look forward to an awesome Google Air Hangout with you today. And our goal is really simple. It's to have fun, which, as you can tell, everybody on here is about having fun. We'll introduce everybody in just a moment. And to help you get inspired if you're not already there. And also, we've got some updates and some information about what's going on in the Ripple, so I think you'll be excited about that. Our goal is to do this like Domino's Pizza in 30 minutes or less, so we'll see how we do with that. But many of you have heard that we are on a march to 1 million. And what that means is, if you take a look at what's been happening in the app space and the social space, the thing basically they look at on Silicon Valley is how fast did you get to 1 million free subscribers? And what's exciting is that, you know, it took Twitter 24 months, it took Facebook 10 months, it took Instagram 2.5 months, and in just around 40 days, the Ripple has now grown from 1 person to 12 people to 750 to 10,000 to 100,000 to 600,000 people, over 600,000 in just about 40 days. So we're excited because that means that every one of you who is watching is a part of that Ripple, and you are making a difference. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to some of the leaders who were the first to see the vision of what we're talking about and have been sharing this with everybody. So let's just go right down the line. You guys have just met Michael Rutherford. Michael, you want to say hi and where you're calling in from?
Good morning, good morning. My name is Michael. I'm in San Diego in Carlsbad. Glad to be with everybody.
Perfect. And Liz Ramos.
Hey everyone, Liz Ramos from San Francisco, and I'm chatting in with you guys from Anaheim, California today. Good morning.
Perfect. And Troy Olds.
Hi everybody, it's Troy Olds, Boise, Idaho. Welcome to the Hangout. I'm excited to be here.
Perfect. Greg Akers.
Hey guys, welcome to Hangout, and I'm the first to be able to wish you a good afternoon because I'm here in Dayton, Ohio, on the East Coast. So great to be here with you West Coast people.
Perfect. And from our Australian friends and friends in China and Singapore and Japan and everything, we're not really sure what time it is, but we know it's probably early in the morning or into the next day. So we just want to welcome you guys. And I've asked each one of the leaders here to share with you 3 questions and a tip to help you understand how to start to grow your Ripple. And we're going to start off actually with one from me, and then we'll dive into Liz. So one of the first things that I want to share with you guys is that if life isn't fun and business isn't fun, then it's probably not worth doing. And this morning I woke up and I started playing this game that I bought a subscription to about 2 weeks ago. And it's one of those brain training games. And every day I wake up, it gives me 3 or 4 or 5 little games that I play on my computer. And what was interesting is I had 2 polar opposite reactions to these games, and it really made me think about this business. Now, the first reaction I had was one of the games that comes up is this little game where it flashes up a number, and then on your screen it flashes an image of a bird for just a second, and then they go away. And what you have to do is you have to go click on where you thought the bird was and remember the number, and then it gives you a score, and it gets faster and faster, and then it throws up some decoys. Anyways, I've gotten pretty good at that game because it uses spatial recognition, which is great for sports and surfing and things like that. Then the next one came up, and this is one where it's got this restaurant, and customers walk into the restaurant, male and female, and then you have to remember their name and their order. And then it does all these random things, and you have to put their name and order back in. And if you get it right, well, they give you tips. And if you get it wrong, then you lose your tips. And the last time I played that game, I did not do that well on it. It was a memory game. And I was tired. It was the middle of the night. I wasn't in my best state. But here's what's interesting, and here's how this relates to business. I noticed that the one that I had done well on last time, I was excited to play. And the one that I had not done well on, I immediately had this kind of like, reaction to it. Well, I stood back for a second, I refocused, and I said, this time I'm going to just do a little better than I did last time. I ended up getting a 100% score on the restaurant game. And I had this insight. How many times in life or business do you presuppose whether you're going to enjoy something or not? How many times do you prejudge whether it's going to be fun or whether it's going to be successful or whether it's going to be difficult or hard? And when you look at the Ripple, it's probably one of the easiest, most fun things that you can do because we've all shared videos or we've shared apps before. And when people like those, we're like, wow, I felt like I gave something of value to that person. It was easy. It was fun. And I look at the Ripple as a game. How many people can I introduce to a video and an app today? Can I do it with 5 people, 10 people, 15 people? Can I do it with the girl that's sitting in Starbucks? And if it were a game, I wouldn't have any attachment other than just getting better. So I wanted to start off with that little tip is look at life as a game, look at the Ripple as a game, look at your business as a game, and ask yourself, how are you approaching the game? Are you having fun? Are you growing? Are you learning? Or have you predetermined already who would be interested in the game? Have you predetermined whether or not you will be good at this game? You see, I believe you're not actually going to know until you get into the game. So that's one little tip, and I'll share another one with you later. But Liz, I'd love to hear from you, and I asked you guys to share 3 questions, right? So if you don't mind, share with us, why are you here, what's one of your tips, and what are you most excited about?
Awesome. Excited to do that. Yeah, and as you're describing that tip, Jim, I'm thinking of, when we're doing something as awesome as this and there's new information every day and we're adjusting to get better and make this bigger than what we ever thought possible, faster than we ever thought possible. Things are sometimes clear as mud, and my motto has been, even when things are clear as mud, you can still have fun in the mud. So there you go. That's my 2 cents on that. But one of the things that I love about being in the Ripple and playing, I had to think about it pretty seriously, and I think clicking the load more button on the countries is probably the funnest piece of the game to see how many times I have to click to get it to come up. But no, the relationships piece, I think for me, I'm very much a relationships-based person, and everything that I do is kind of revolves around that. So that ability or that fun that we're having connecting with the people that I already loved, that I'm talking to them, through different ways multiple times a day or multiple times a week. I think that's awesome. And the fact that I'm having a chance to build new relationships with other awesome, cool people that have come into our lives because of the Ripple. So definitely that's why I like being a part of this project. And one of my tips that I have is, we have the different strategies and things that we're learning from each other on what's helping us grow bigger and faster and meet this goal of March to 1 million and beyond. But I would say the one tip that I would give you is that nurture the relationship above all. When people, whatever stage they're at, whatever pace they're at, meet them at their pace, people that you're inviting in. If they're comfortable observing for now, then let them observe. If they want to walk in their process of the ripple, walk with them. If they're ready to run, run with them. So meet them at their pace so that you can help them grow at whatever comfort level they feel comfortable, and run with the people that are ready to run and walk with those that want to do that. I'm putting so much time into this project because ever since we were introduced to it months ago, and we were, in that NDA process and finding out, I know in my gut and in my heart and in my mind and all of it that this was something amazing that we were all having the opportunity to be a part of, and felt an immense amount of gratitude. And I remember feeling that silence of just pure gratitude and joy of being a part of this. So in addition, the trust that we have and the leaders like yourself and Brian, and that relationship that we have with all of you, we've talked before about how we have this period of time in the world where it's going to be before the ripple and after the ripple for the world. I think that as individuals, we also will have that phase in time where it was our lives before the ripple rolled out and after. I really do feel that from my gut and my heart and all of the above. So that's why I'm excited to be here.
Very cool. And I know that you're making a huge splash in the Spanish-speaking market. You've really rallied a lot of people around that. So thanks for sharing your wisdom. I know that's going to help some people. So why don't we go to Troy next? Troy, you ready to rock and roll?
You got it. You got it. Can you hear me? I just unmuted myself, I hope.
Loud and clear.
Cool. I think that I love what Liz just shared, because it truly is. It's about the relationships for me. And I think that that's something that I love to coach on for new people, is that I think people see a lot of shiny objects out there, because there are a lot of shiny objects out there. And there's this little circle of insanity that goes on, and I've seen it. I got to move this. I got a big glare. There's a circle of insanity that people get involved with, which is they get a phone call, they get an email about the next big deal, and I can tell you this, you guys, most big deals are not the big deals. It's there's just a lot of stuff out there. So what I found to be really valuable is relationships. And in 2007, when the economy went this way, I made a very clear decision to myself that I'm going to surround myself with only the best people I can possibly find. I'd rather be alone than around the wrong people, because it's that important. I've been around long enough, over the 40 mark, to realize how important relationships are to us. And so I did that. And in 2007, my construction company went south. My wife's a real estate agent. And so you can imagine, anybody who's in mortgages or real estate knows what happened back in 2007. But we did know this, that in times of massive change comes massive opportunity. And so we stayed hopeful. And we just kept doing the next right thing, working our faces off, trying to find what that is. But here's the thing that we also found, is that there's massive opportunity in times of massive change, like the economy, what happened a few years ago, but generally not for the masses, because the masses are plugged into the TV. They're listening to their friends who watch the TV and watch the news and believe it, unfortunately. And so it's really important that you lock in with people who have their finger on the pulse of what's happening, that they're listening to high vibrational information, and they're being constructive and creative. And so one of the greatest blessings that happened for me is I met Brian Underwood 13 years ago, back in the e-commerce days. My wife and I had a stars lined up situation where we got involved with the right company at the right time, and it radically compressed financial time frames. What we were earning at that time, we earned the equivalent of 10 years income in about a 6-month time frame. Completely blew our minds. Late 20s, I spent every penny. And so really some of the wealth that I got from that was meeting Brian. And I instantly loved the guy, because he talked about his mentors, his coaches. He played for Rick Pitino. I mean, the guy's he's a stud. And so we became friends. And over the past 13 years, we've stayed in touch with one another, friends first. We had some major personal challenges, like a lot of people do. And the cool thing about Brian is he'd always reach out. How you doing? What's going on with you? So I really value that relationship. And then we got, in late 2009, this phone call from him. He says, look, you need to get to Las Vegas. He says, I don't care if you do this. He says, but you deserve to see it. And so I jumped down to Las Vegas, and because I've learned that when you get a phone call from Brian about business, you better jump the plane, because it's always been fulfilling and financially rewarding. And that's when he showed us this whole mobile technology conversion, that in '07 one economy died, but when a whole other economy was born. Steve Jobs, we can't give him all the credit, but he did launch the first version of the iPhone, and literally in 2 years after 2007, the population of the internet doubled. So that gave us more eyeballs, more people to share our stuff with. And so that's just one mega trend, and I could go on and on. I don't want to dominate this hangout, but what I'd like to really close with for folks is this, is that the technology that we're playing with today, it did not exist, 5 years ago. The culmination of this transitional technology is genuinely a life changer. It's a game changer of epic proportions. And what I mean by that is it truly gives us the ability to compress financial timeframes and other timeframes as well, which is we hit the 8-month goal for Ripplen in the first 4 weeks. That's because we're writing on social technologies, again, that didn't exist back in 2007. So that's something that's really important for everybody, because we all have been sold this dream of, go live your passions. I love what you shared, Jim, about having fun. I think having fun is working around inspired people, being able to identify what your passion is, and then going out and being able to pursue that. And if all you've got to do is, pursue your passion, great, that's amazing. Because now I truly believe, finally, and I'm glad I'm alive to see it happen, that the technology has converged, business has converged to the point that now wherever I've got this mobile device, whether it's up in the Sawtooth Mountains, on a lake where I've got internet access, or it's on a beach, wherever, I can do business. I can make enough money to go out and do what's really important, which is live my passion. So that's what fires me up, Jim, and I'm excited about it. I think Ripplen is first to market. We're breaking every record. If people understood, they hear about all the stuff, from the bloggers and these different things. What a lot of people aren't hearing about is all the VC capital coming to the table, the product people, the app people who are coming and wanting to play with us. So hopefully I can instill some of my passion in folks who are wondering what to do next. The thing to do next is Ripple. So that's it.
Well, I think the thing that's interesting is you're really tying in, I believe, also the piece that Liz is saying is that technology, if you look at it, this device can either distract us or it can bring us together. And what's interesting is you kind of reckon here also is that it's about building relationships and reconnecting our social graph. So if you look, I don't know about you guys, but I've got quote unquote thousands of friends on Facebook that I don't really even know, and to be honest with you, I don't know that I would spend a lot of time with them on vacation and building businesses. But we're reconnecting the social graph with people, like you said, that you care about, with Brian and other people that you want to do life with and do business with. So I highly recommend that you guys look at it from that mind frame too. And as Liz said, when we look, into the future and then we're looking back at today, did we rebuild our social graph with people that we want to have fun with, that we want to create new experiences and memories with? Because you can invite anybody to the Ripple. It's obviously open. But are you building a stronger tie, or are you building weaker ties? And think about how you did it before. And this time, rebuild it with people that you want to win with, because that's what's happening. We've aggregated 600,000 people that have been connected one person by one person by one person. And I believe that that's part of the strength of the Ripple. So why don't we switch gears? Let's go over to Greg Akers. And Greg, share with us, why is it you're involved? What's a tip, and what are you most excited about? What's got you doing this?
Well, and Troy, you hit on so many good points, as did you, Liz. With respect to why people join anything, why do they go get involved? Why do they go get a job? They either do it out of inspiration or out of desperation. And as I look back at the projects I've been involved in, whether it's traditional business or whatever I've done, I found more fulfillment, more rewards, financial and likewise, from being involved in something from an inspired level rather than attacking it from a desperate level. But what's really exciting me about this are the chance meetings that we can have that can lead to so much around the world. And you got to wonder, is there somebody, some teen somewhere, or some young adult in a country that all he has is a cell phone and a power strip that he can go and plug his phone into? Did we connect with that guy somewhere along our Ripple, and somehow did that guy get back to the United States, and is he going to financially be rewarded for the Ripple that he's been able to build without having, all the education or all the resources that we have as Americans here? or not just somebody in other countries like that, but what single mom hit the floor to pray last night, saying, "Look, what is going to get me out of this mess that I'm in?" And again, maybe they don't have the resources to go out and find a traditional job or the training it may take. Guys, we've got something that's so exciting that you don't have to go out and have a massive degree. Troy, you and I both, we come from almost the same mold, the School of Hard Knocks, where we got our PhD. Guys, that's the best education you can have in a business like this. And the other part that excites me so much about this is that there's really no explanation needed. My 12-year-old and my 18-year-old son, they get it. They understand this, and it's exciting to see them get excited about this. And so that really fires me up about this particular project. One of the tips that I'll give, and I'll use Michael, you as an example. Michael went to see the movie Hangover 3 the other night. And he tells me, "Man, dude, you got to see that. You got to see that movie." He didn't go into an entire diatribe about the movie and how it started, how it ended, what the plot of the story was. Guys, it's the same thing here. If you can go get that video or one of the videos that you're comfortable in sharing in front of your contacts, you can be successful with this thing. And that's the one tip that I will give people. And I have folks call me all the time. "Well, what do you say to this guy? What do you say to that guy?" I say, "Watch this, watch this, watch this." And I say, watch it with enthusiasm. And you look on Facebook today, and if you saw a video on Facebook that just showed a picture of a smiling little child, you're not necessarily going to click on it because you don't know what it's about. But if there's just a little caption above from Jim Bunch or Troy Olds or Mike Rutherford or Liz that says, "Hey, watch this. This is cool," or "This made me cry," or "This made me laugh," guess what? You're going to watch it. And if we can apply that same principle here, we're going to build, build, build. And then lastly, why am I focusing so much time on this now? Well, why did David Karp focus so much time on Tumblr? Because he knew someday if he built the eyeballs, it would be worth $1 billion, and actually it's 1.1 billion. And if you have the people, we can go do anything, guys. It doesn't matter about the product, the service, the cause. If you have the people behind you, you're going to be successful. And the time I spend now, my belief is when this thing actually launches, when we flip the switch or switch to flip, whichever way we want to view it, when that happens, I see 5 times growth. That's my personal opinion. Now, 5 times growth of a 0 is a 0. 5 times growth of tens of thousands of people, guys, we're having a lot of fun with it. So, hey, I just want to thank you for, allow me to be a part of the Hangout today, and I'm really excited about the next few weeks, what it holds, but more excited what it holds for us over the next several years as we get to travel the globe together and have a lot of fun along the way.
Awesome. I love your enthusiasm, and your tips are right on. It's really keep it simple, and same thing with an app. You don't talk about all the stuff behind an app. You're like, "Hey, check out this really app. You're going to dig it." So I love that. Very simple wisdom. All right, let's go to Michael Rutherford, then a couple of tips, and then we'll wrap up and let you guys rock and roll for the weekend. Michael, you ready to go?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good afternoon. How are you? Can
Awesome.
You hear me okay? Very cool. I have a screen share that I want to dive into and don't want to take too much time, but it's something I learned from Brian Underwood just a few years ago, and I can tell you that if you can master just this one thing, if you take what the 3 or I guess the 4 other speakers that have spoken about before I'm going to speak and consolidate them and simplify everything into one action, which is there's really 2 things that we do. We invite personal relationships into the Ripple, and then we dive in with those relationships once they're in to replicate the process. It's about getting 5 and then diving in. So if you can master this, really building from the bottom up to build further, faster, and and take these time frames and just collapse them, and take what's going to take once we launch a year, do it inside of 14 or 21 or 28 days right now during this buzz mode. And I've got a screen share that I want to do really quickly. The document that I'm going to show is also found on blog, and it was also just put up. Can you see that? Can you see that, Jim?
Yeah, I can see your Skype.
Yep.
Should see Skype. Let me close out of my Skype. How about this?
Ooh.
Can you see me? Let's try it again. How about now?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Bam! Hey, you don't have to be technologically savvy to build this thing. But if we can master together and collectively as a ripple, as a global ripple, this concept, this training piece, it'll blow your mind once the thing starts to go. Once we get get out of buzz mode. I mean, just as a reminder, we are just in buzz mode. The movie hasn't been shown yet. We've only shown some trailers around the world, and we've kind of set the globe on fire with the idea of incentivizing and rewarding people for their influence. You're right, I did go see The Hangover 3. It was hilarious. It wasn't too gross. But for a year, they've been promoting that movie. Guys, we've only been promoting through this buzz phase rippling for like 40 days. And we've attracted over 630,000 people. So what we're doing is working. What we're about to teach you right now will absolutely light up your group. So what we want to talk about, the very first thing is about one-to-one relationships. It's about not just high technology, but high touch. What you'll see is every single player that I have in my personal first Ripple, they're all personal friends. It's not like I ran an ad to find a friend on Facebook. I mean, think about the people that you invited to Facebook. Why did you invite them to Facebook, and how did you invite them to Facebook? You didn't like run a commercial to say, "Hey, I'm cool. Be my friend on Facebook." No, you invited your high school friends, your college friends, your coworkers, people that you play tennis with. Do a memory jogger of the people that you actually like in your life and invite them to the Ripple. You don't have to go into an explanation. I think the videos are your absolute best friend, and just use them like crazy, like these other guys have shared. Make it fun. Invite people that you want to hang with. I invite people that I want to go to Bora Bora with. That's really, at the end of the day, that's who I've invited to the Ripple. Now, of course, I'm going to end up inviting everybody, but if we collapse time frames right now and focus on getting, if you're seeing this for the very first time, within 10 minutes of coming into the Ripple, you don't need to watch 35 videos and spend 9 hours reading all these magazines and articles to understand what Rippling's about. Go invite your first 5 people, and as they accept that invitation, it'll unlock more invites. So the step 1 is to go sponsor 5 first people, develop a relationship as far down with those people as you can get. I'm going to get off my screen share for 1 second. I'm a prop person. I like visuals. Can you see what that is?
Elmer's glue.
Elmer's.
It's actually liquid and rubber cement, but you know what I mean. Elmer's glue. It's all about developing glue with the people who are in your Ripple. So step 2 is to dive in with those 5 that you put in. It's to dive in with those people. It's not about just enrolling somebody or sponsoring somebody and saying, "Okay, now go get them, Tiger." It's about helping those people get off to a fast start. Well, how do you get them off to a fast start? They've got to immediately go get their 5 people. So if Brian Underwood put Michael Rutherford into the Ripple, which he did, my first immediate goal is to go get my first 5 people. And then my 5 people's first goal, if I'm teaching them correctly, is to go get their first 5 people. So again, step 2, the goal is to go at least 5 ripples deep until you find someone else who sponsors 5. You can call it sorting and sifting. You can call it swatting and swimming. You can call it building from the bottom up. Really what you're trying to locate is a runner. You want to find somebody that wants to treat this like a social business, not just like a hobby. And that's okay. Like she said earlier, some people are going to walk, some are going to run, some are going to absolutely smoke this. You're just looking for the people that see what we see and believe what we believe. I saw what Brian showed me in 5 minutes. I believed everything that came out of his mouth. One, we had a previous relationship, and I was in his wedding last year, or at his wedding, so that was super helpful. But everything he said, I believed, and everything he said would happen has not only happened, but it's happened 10 times faster. He's like, "Man, you could put 10,000 people in this." Well, I put 10,000 people in this in 3 days. He's like, "Man, I bet you can put 100,000 in here." We did that in 30 days. And I thought, man, if everything he keeps telling me happens, this thing's going to be crazy. So as you go out and start building your group and start building through people, it's not always about the person that you enroll or that you invite. It's about the people that they know. In other words, most of the personal people that I've personally enrolled haven't put in hundreds of people. I've got a guy with 80,000 people in his Ripple. Do you know how I got him? He was referred to me from a guy who's only put in 10. So it's not always about the person that you put in, but it's about the people that you can get through them or with them. So that third step is to mobilize with the person that's maybe 5, 6, 7 ripples down and go in and anchor that leg. The Elmer's glue image that I just showed you, that's what it's about. It's about creating a cloth inside or within your own Ripple that lock people into the vision of what we're doing. So the idea of building from the bottom up means it's not all about the very first person you put in. It's about the minute that they come in, getting people in their ripple. Because the faster they get people in the ripple, the only way to shut up a critic is to build it. You know how we shut up every critic on earth? We put 1 million people in this thing by June 15th. There's one thing we've done. I've got a stack of props right now in front of me. One of them's got Mark Zuckerberg Person of the Year on Time Magazine, Instagram's articles, the Angry Birds articles. Ripplin has done and is doing one thing that none of them did, putting 1 million people in our community in less than 60 days. And that's the one thing, if we can master this one piece, that's how it's going to happen. And I'm not going to guarantee or promise you anything, but what I will tell you is you're going to be flipped out when you see the rewards flip on, when you see the commerce flip on inside of Ripplin. If you've built from the bottom up, it's an absolute skill that everybody on here can learn. It's more of an art than a skill, but it's an art that everybody can learn, managing people, leading people, learning how to meet people at their needs and ask them, who are the first 3 to 5 people that came to mind that you thought of that you know need to see this video? Let's go and get in touch with them. If we can master this thing in the next 3 weeks between now and the 15th of June, you're going to freak what can happen once we start going live, once we start launching. Because it's the compounding of people that if you let it start, it'll grow out of your control. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's freaked me out in this buzz mode to build a ripple of 120-something thousand people. I don't know that many people. My wife and I kind of shrug our shoulders and go, how did it happen? But really, when you look at the definition of the ripple, when you look at the idea of being a socialpreneur, what it really means to go influence the world, what it means to go build a value proposition to the globe, that's what Ripplin is spotlighting. And I think for the first time, like the other speakers have said, we're putting a visual representation on what your tribe has always looked like. We just never knew it. So again, just the last thing I would say about that is every single time you bring in a brand new person, make it about that person getting people. Make it about that person getting their first 5 in. And every single person you bring in won't be confused. They won't be in the clouds or have, I think somebody said muddy water or murky water or whatever it was. People are going to have more clarity. Therefore, if they have more clarity, they're going to be able to take bigger action. The bigger action they take, the more people they're going to get. I mean, that's some of the stuff that I'm really excited about. And Jim, I know that as we wrap up this morning, there's a lot of really neat stuff that's coming down the pipe here in the coming weeks that I can't wait to see. So I'll stop rambling. Back to you, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And, one of the things I love about this is Ripplin caffeine at its best. I mean, everybody's excited. You see us drinking water, not coffee, because we're super stoked about a couple of things. Number one, we're seeing our ripples grow. But the other thing is that we're helping people. And I want to just echo one thing that Michael was talking about here. My son is 6 years old, and last summer I took him down to the beach and got him to start surfing. And, can you imagine me putting him on a surfboard and just saying, hey, good luck, go for it? He's 6 years old, he's not strong enough to paddle, the waves would crush him, he would just get rolled, and then instantly he wouldn't want to do it, right? So that's not the way you teach somebody to surf who's never surfed before. And what you do is you go out and you put them on a softboard and you stand behind them on the board. You either ride the board with them or you stabilize the board so that as the wave is taking you, you're running and he can stand up. And so that's how we got him up and surfed in his first day. And I think what Michael's talking about here is the importance of holding someone steady until they catch that wave. And it's not just a metaphor for life, it's a metaphor for business and everything. And then that reminded me of my son last night. We went to dinner with another couple and they just started karate. My son and his friends started karate together last night. We went to dinner with his parents last night and we're talking, and they're very smart people. They're actually biophysicists, right? And one of them's a biogeneticist who is working on all the stuff for amniotesis and, when they poke the mom and they figure out if the baby's going to be healthy or not. And they're just brilliant people, right? But in the conversation, something really interesting popped up. The first thing was the husband was talking about the traffic that he has to get into every day and go back and forth from where we live to La Jolla, California. And he was talking about how long it was because there was an accident the other day. And that kind of triggered me in something. Number one, he was talking about a new app that helped him go to the coast instead of on Interstate 5. All right, so there's a window right there. But the second thing is it triggered for me how many brilliant people don't understand what the people on this call and Brian and everybody else is sharing, and that is that there are 4 types of freedom in life and in business. Now, I'm going to make you a pause for a second because I'm going to share with you those 4 freedoms. Actually, I have a visual I'm going to show you, and you're going to want to write these down. But I also want to give you some of the updates. So I'm going to put a little pregnant pause in there for a minute and make you hang on, because you're going to want to hear these 4 freedoms, because if you're going to build a business, if you're going to join us in this movement of socialpreneurs, and I'll talk about that in a moment, you need to understand these 4 freedoms, because most of you understand 1 or 2 of them, but when you understand all 4 freedoms, your whole life can open up. Now, before I share that, let me share with you some of the updates that our team has been working tirelessly to put together, and I think you're going to be blown away at this, because we, like you, love where we're headed, but you got to understand our team has been working day and night across the world to get these updates going. So I want to give a special shout out to Craig and John and Charlotte and Nancy and Brian and Jennifer and Terry and everybody who's just been behind the scenes making this thing happen. You know, and Jen and Jan, and everybody's just rocking it. So let me share with you some of the updates, because they were super excited about this. If you haven't been in your back office yet, you know, here's a couple of updates. Number 1, I don't have the full list yet, but approximately 30 countries, including Serbia and various islands that people have been asking about, have been added to your map. So when Liz was talking about how exciting it is to see your map, I'm getting a lesson in geography, and my 6-year-old and I are going in, all right, what new country do we have somebody popping up in? Wow, there's somebody on American Samoa. I didn't even know that place existed. See if you can find it in your map. All right, number 2, new languages have been added to the invite system. Initially, it was just English. Now we have Mandarin, we have Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, French, Italian, Hebrew, and Japanese. So you can actually send the invites out in those languages. How cool is that? And I went in and tested it, and I can't read any Mandarin, so maybe that's on my goal list to start to read that. All right. Number 3, invites will get sent via text and emails in multi-languages, but it's still in progress. So pretty soon you will actually be able to send the invites out in text and email in the multi-language. So that's pretty neat. Go back into your back office. Here's another update that they made that I think is really cool. Users can now add a profile photo. So I went in this morning. It's super easy. You just click on the upper right-hand corner. You can add your picture in, and of course that will allow other people to see you. The process has been tested on numerous browsers, both on mobile and desktop. However, there are so many different types of browsers out there. So if there's some issues, we know that they're being sent into support, and some of those will come up pretty quickly. One little heads up on this. We are not displaying the photos on invite cards yet. Okay, so you can see it in yours. Eventually that will be on the invite cards. And then one final update here on Monday. All right, we will have the Stay in the Loop checkbox linked to something, a service called SendGrid. And what that means is when a user unticks it and saves their profile, it'll automatically unsubscribe them from the notifications, okay? And then if they want to change it back, they can, you know, just readjust that. So all kinds of amazing stuff coming out. One little other update I just got here is if you're in the domestic US and you want to stay connected by text, okay, so you want to get text alerts of all the great stuff that's happening, you can send Rippln, R-I-P-P-L-N, to the phone number or short code 90210. Okay, so that's Rippln, R-I-P-P-L-N, to 90210. And that will keep you in the loop of the updates. Now that's for the domestic US, okay? And for the rest of you guys, make sure that you're on our email broadcast, because that'll keep you in the loop. And of course, stay connected to the person who invited you to the Ripple, because as everybody has mentioned here, this is a relationship business, and we're using high tech to bring back high touch, you know, bring you back into real relationships with people. So I wanted to share with you, as I mentioned before, these 4 freedoms. And this weekend, especially here in the US, is a special weekend because here in the US it's called Memorial Day. And Memorial Day is really our chance to honor those who have protected our freedoms, people who have either given their lives or they've served time, or maybe the families of people who have done those. You know, my dad was a frontline Vietnam veteran and a Marine, and he had a Purple Heart because he was over there fighting for people's freedom. At least that's what he believed. And his whole life has been affected by that, and so has mine and many other generations. And I'm grateful for the sacrifices that he made. And every single day we make sacrifices, right? We make sacrifices to maybe go to that job, or we make sacrifices to go out of our way to help somebody else who's in need. And I think that's one of the great things about the movement that we're creating, is not only are we connecting with people around the world, not only do we have new, really cool technology, not only are we rebuilding a social graph, but we are creating a vision and mission that is so compelling that 600,000 people in 40 days have said, I want to be a part of that. I want to be something called a socialpreneur. Now, think about this. There's intrapreneurs, which means you work inside of somebody else's company. There's entrepreneurs, which means you started the company. And there are socialpreneurs, which means that you are an intrapreneur, an entrepreneur, and you are building a socially based business. Not one that disconnects you from people, but one that reconnects you with people. And right now, for the first time in our history, there are 5.9 billion of us out of the 7.2 billion that are already connected on these devices. So our socialpreneur ability is at an all-time high. And when you're talking with people, I want you to listen like I did at dinner the other night, and listen to what people are truly saying. Now, at first glance, the gentleman I was talking about who was in traffic, I could listen to him and go, oh, I could talk to him about an app. But at second glance, as I listened to him talk about his frustration of not being able to invest more time with his wife and with his son, and they have moved from Germany to not have some of the freedom to just take off and travel around the world like we do, to not really have a network of people like us who are connected and having fun and changing people's lives, I heard something way deeper. And this is what I want to share with you. And this is something that I believe some of you may already intuit, but if I were to ask you, what are the 4 freedoms in your life? Most people are going to say what? They're going to say time freedom, right? So that makes sense. They're going to say financial freedom. But let me show you a little chat here. Actually, give me one sec. I've got to make this smaller. And I've got you right on the edge of the cliff here, don't I? Here we go. That's what I wanted to see. Tell me guys if my screen share is showing up here. Is that showing up for you guys?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So when you think about your freedom and you think about other people's freedom, I want you to envision for a second that you not only have time freedom and that you have financial freedom, but you also have location freedom and inner freedom. Now, location freedom means that you can do what you want, when you want, with who you want, anywhere in the world. And if you have a mobile device, or even if you're disconnecting from your mobile device for a couple of weeks, you can literally be connecting with people across the world. And I know every time I look at my map, I go, wow, that's a place I've never been. That's a place I've never been. That's a place I've never been. But I got 47 people there, and 100 people there, and 5,000 people there. I bet I can find a couple of people that are really fun to play with. But the one that most people miss is one called inner freedom. And that inner freedom is setting up your mind and your emotions to have true joy, true pleasure, true happiness. And for some people, that comes from having a solid foundation financially. That comes from having a really connected family. And for many of us, I know for most of us on this call, you heard it mentioned already, it also comes from our desire to help other people. Because, see, socialpreneurism means that you're not doing this by yourself. You're doing it with a team. You're connecting and building bridges with other people around the world, whether it's that little boy in a grass hut who only has connection to the world through his mobile device, or whether it's the mom who's in Germany who says, I want a better life for my family, or whether it's the CEO of a major company who's built himself into a trap because he's got to be in a position that causes him stress every day instead of doing the things that he wants. You see, you never know, and this is Michael Rutherford's the one who taught me this, you never know who is going to be looking to become a social entrepreneur. You just never know. So share with them your passion. Share with them the ripple. Share with them whatever concepts or ideas you're most excited about, but listen deeper into what's important to them. And ask yourself, is it possible that that one video that you share, that one invite that you share, is going to change the direction of someone's life forever? Because every single one of us on this webinar, on this Google Hangout, had that happen, and now we're paying it forward. So I want to thank you guys for participating in this Google Hangout. We went about 15 minutes over, and I also want to challenge you, because as you go out into this weekend, it's not just important what's happening in your life. Okay, it's important what's happening in other people's lives too. So as you randomly bump into people, recognize this is your opportunity to connect with people on a deeper level. And it's your opportunity to invite them into the ripple. So Brian and I discussed this. We'd like to give you a challenge, and it's just a game. See how you do in this game. See how you show up in the game. But here's our challenge for you this weekend. We'd like each and every one of us, myself included, to invite 5 new people into the ripple. Okay, so 5 new people into your first ripple this weekend. Then we'd also like you to help 5 of your people invite 5 people, so a total of 25 people. So invite 5 that are brand new to you, and then help those 5 get 5. That would be 25 people. Now make this a 72-hour challenge, okay? So over the next couple of days, we're going to do a 72-hour challenge to invite 5 and help those 5 get 5. So 25 total people added to your ripple, and watch how your energy changes. Watch how your ripple grows when you're excited about this game and this passion to help more people become socialpreneurs. So I'd just like to thank you from the top, bottom, and middle of all of our hearts. We're super excited to reach the 1 million person march, and you guys are helping everybody make history. So thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend, and from behalf of the whole Ripplin team, God bless. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now, everybody.
See y'all.
Later. Adios.
Everybody have a great weekend.